Most travelers come to the United Kingdom for London, but beyond the famous landmarks are villages older than some countries. Mountains hidden beneath shifting clouds, coastlines shaped by centuries of storms, and places that feel completely disconnected from modern life. And most visitors never go that far. The United Kingdom isn't one experience. It's many different worlds in one journey. What people think the UK is. When people think about the United Kingdom, they usually picture London, royal palaces, historic landmarks, busy streets, and famous attractions. And that version exists. But the United Kingdom is much more than its capital. The further you travel from the urban centers, the more you discover that this nation contains landscapes and atmospheres that contradict every preconceived notion formed by postcards and guidebooks. The stereotypical images represent only a fraction of what exists across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Move beyond the city, and the landscapes, pace of life, and even atmosphere begin to change. The transformation happens gradually at first. Then suddenly, concrete gives way to hedgerows. Traffic noise fades into birdsong. The relentless forward momentum of metropolitan existence slows to something more deliberate, more connected to seasons and natural rhythms that cities often obscure. London, the anchor. London is one of the world's most visited cities. History and modern life exist side by side. Centuries-old landmarks sit beside glass skyscrapers. Markets, museums, and neighborhoods create completely different experiences. Walk through Shoreditch and you'll find street art covering Victorian warehouses converted into galleries and creative spaces. Cross the river to South Bank and you'll encounter street performers, book markets, and cultural institutions housed in brutalist architecture. Head to Camden, and the atmosphere shifts again. Music venues, alternative fashion, and canal-side markets create an entirely different energy. You could spend weeks here and still feel like you've only seen part of the city, but London is just where the story begins. For every traveler who never leaves the capital, there exists another United Kingdom waiting to be discovered. One that operates at a different speed, speaks in different accents, and reveals landscapes that feel almost impossible to believe exist on the same island. The Cotswolds, a different pace. West of London, everything slows down. The Cotswolds are known for countryside landscapes and villages built from warm-colored stone. Narrow streets wind between cottages and gardens. Small cafes sit beside quiet town squares. This isn't countryside as backdrop or weekend escape, it's countryside as way of life. Villages here operate according to rhythms established centuries ago. Church bells still mark the hours. Local shops close for lunch. Farmers' markets remain central to weekly routines. The architecture tells stories of wool trade prosperity from the medieval period, when this region generated significant wealth through textile production. This side of the UK feels very different. Less noise, less rush, and a completely different rhythm of life. The honey-colored limestone used throughout the region creates visual continuity across dozens of villages. Burford, Bibury, Castle Combe, each maintains distinct character while sharing architectural DNA. Morning light catches these buildings differently than it does London's brick and Portland stone. The material seems to hold warmth, glowing in late afternoon sun. Lake District, mountains and water. In northwest England, the scenery changes again. The Lake District combines mountains, lakes, valleys, and small villages. Ancient glaciers shaped much of this landscape. The rounded peaks and U-shaped valleys tell geological stories spanning millennia. Ice carved through volcanic rock, creating the distinctive topography that draws hikers, climbers, and photographers from across the world. This isn't wilderness in the untouched sense. Humans have shaped these landscapes through sheep farming and forestry for thousands of years, but it retains a wildness that feels authentic. Trails lead across ridges overlooking water and rolling hills, and weather changes quickly. One moment, sunlight, the next moment, clouds covering the mountains. This meteorological volatility isn't anomaly, it's characteristic. Maritime air masses moving inland from the Irish Sea encounter mountain barriers, creating dramatic and rapid weather shifts. You might begin a morning hike under clear skies and finish in horizontal rain. Locals dress in layers and carry waterproofs regardless of forecast. They've learned not to trust apparent conditions. Most visitors leave the UK thinking they've seen it. But the deeper you explore, the more it changes. If you enjoy discovering destinations beyond the obvious, this channel is built for that. We don't focus on landmark checklists or rushed itineraries. We explore how places actually feel, how landscapes shift character across regions, and what travelers discover when they move beyond the standard routes. If that perspective interests you, consider subscribing. The journey continues beyond this video. Cornwall, where land meets ocean. In the southwest, Cornwall feels completely different again. Massive cliffs drop into the Atlantic Ocean. Small fishing villages sit beside quiet harbors. Long coastal paths stretch for miles. The ocean shapes daily life here. Tides determine fishing schedules and harbor access. Storms arrive with little warning, battering exposed coastlines with waves that have traveled across 3,000 miles of open ocean. The light possesses unique quality, something about the position, the surrounding water, the particular atmospheric conditions creates illumination that painters and photographers chase obsessively. And the scenery feels almost unreal at sunset. The coastal path that circles the entire peninsula represents one of Britain's most remarkable long-distance trails. It follows the shoreline for 300 miles, climbing and descending repeatedly, offering constantly changing perspectives on ocean, cliff, beach, and village. You could walk sections for weeks and never encounter the same view twice. The people and local life. One of the things many travelers notice most about the UK isn't the scenery, it's the atmosphere. Small towns still gather around local markets. Neighborhood cafes remain meeting places. Historic buildings continue to be part of everyday life. Life often feels connected to local communities and to traditions that continue through generations. This isn't romanticization. Rural British life faces significant challenges, including economic decline, reduced services, and aging populations. But something persists about community structure and local identity that feels increasingly rare in globalized, mobile, modern society. People remain rooted in ways that create distinct local cultures, accents that change across 20 miles, traditions that vary from village to village. Food and culture. Food across the UK has changed dramatically over time. Traditional meals like fish and chips remain popular. Sunday roasts still bring families together. But street food and international influences now shape cities across the country. Meanwhile, a culinary renaissance has transformed British cooking at higher levels. Chefs embrace local ingredients, seasonal cooking, and regional specialties while incorporating global techniques. Craft movements have revitalized everything from cheese-making to brewing. Why travelers are looking beyond London. Travel habits in the UK are changing. More travelers are moving beyond the major cities. Instead of rushing through famous attractions, many people now choose slower experiences. Road trips through villages, coastal hiking trails, countryside stays. The UK isn't only about seeing places anymore. It's increasingly about experiencing them differently. Infrastructure supports this shift. Extensive public footpath networks cross private land, giving walkers legal access to countryside. National parks provide information and facilities without overdeveloping landscapes. Historic properties managed by organizations like the National Trust balance preservation with public access. You can walk across working farms, hike through moorlands, and explore forests with minimal restriction. Who this side of the UK is for? This side of the United Kingdom is for travelers who enjoy contrast. For people who want cities, coastlines, history, and countryside in one trip. For those who enjoy discovering places beyond the obvious. The UK offers all of it. You can experience urban intensity and rural tranquility within the same journey. Spend mornings exploring London museums and afternoons walking through villages an hour away by train. Combine coastal hiking with historic city exploration. Mix mountain landscapes with cultural institutions. The United Kingdom isn't just famous landmarks. It's villages, coastlines, mountains, and landscapes that quietly change from one region to another. And once you move beyond the obvious places, you realize how much more there is. Subscribe for more journeys beyond the tourist version. What part of the United Kingdom would you explore first? Leave a comment sharing which region interests you most: the mountains, the coastlines, the villages, or something else entirely. Your answer might influence where we explore next.